It is going to demand us that we again transform from DVB-T to DVB-T2, and that is going to be double simulcast period for Kenyans, and it will be too expensive for a country with the size of the economy of ours. So we moved straight to DVB-T2, and now the rollout is in place. I am sure you will be able to hear how far I think the rollout of the DVB-T2 signal has gone in this country, and whether yes or not, by the end of this year, we should be able to cover 70% of this country. Now, the challenges that that have been put here are challenges that we have told you in terms of the wastage of usage of frequency resources by analog broadcasting, poor reception, and so on and so forth. Those things we have talked a lot about it. But what is important is that now that we are having a new chain of providing broadcasting services, you will have you who is a broadcaster who will aggregate content as a content service provider. We are going to have somebody in between who will provide infrastructure, and this is what we are calling the signal distributors. And then at the end of the chain, you will get the consumer. Now, there's something that is going to give you a challenge, and is giving Kenyans a challenge as we see today, is the fact that now this infrastructure provided, the signal distributor, is able to carry free-to-air services and also carry subscription services. We have not been used to subscription services so much in the past because they have been expensive. I think Mr. Felix here can tell me that, you see, they have been struggling in this market because to get somebody paying 5,000 shillings to be able to be connected to subscription broadcasting services was a little bit difficult for very many people. But I think right now, with this emerging infrastructure, we are going to see a scenario where almost everybody will want to get as many channels as possible, maybe go beyond free-to-air. I may want also to take this opportunity at this time to say, you know, free-to-air is dependent on the advertisement revenue that we have. And the advertisement revenue we have as a country is a function of the economy of this country. When we have more industries, we will have more advertising revenue because each one of them will want to advertise, isn't it? But as we get less and less, we also constrict it. But remember, for the same base of advertisement revenue, competing with more than, let us say, 40 free-to-air broadcasters, will they survive? How many will they drop? Because then it will make no business sense. So that is why I would want to take this opportunity to tell those who are wanting to venture into this business that you need now to be a little more innovative. You need even to run away from the fact that we are all going to run for the same advertisement revenue and survive. We would license so many of them because we will create as many as 500 channels, but then we can only have a few surviving. And that is not a good indicator for a market. A good market should be able to sustain the people who have invested, and it should also be able to satisfy the requirements of the consumers. So that is one of the things that digital broadcasting has brought to us, capacity that we will now need to see how we are going to properly utilize it. Shall we just confine ourselves to free-to-air or not? Even the same advertisement revenue. In fact, the other day I was in South Africa. Then I was passing by a shopping mall with my phone, and I think that the Bluetooth was on. And then I get a message, hey, did we make a mistake? Did we quarrel you? Why are you passing by our mall without coming to say hi? That is already advertisement. So you can imagine the channels through which people are advertising. Even that same advertisement revenue we are talking about is still going to be diverged. So I am just simply saying, let us as Kenyans open up our minds and see exactly where we are going. These challenges are global. Now we are not going to say that we will still remain as an island of our own as Kenya. No, we should compete here, compete in Uganda, compete in Nigeria, even compete in Britain and those countries like where my friend Lee is coming, China. We would also want Kenyans to be operating some channels in China, and we show some of our good techs here. So this is it. This is what the technology has brought for us. And this is just the kind of an arrangement in terms of value chain. You can be your broadcaster there. This is the signal distributor. And of course, we will be having transmitters across the whole country. But those transmitters are now shared. Because out of one transmitter, I think we should be capable of getting 27 channels? 27. So you can imagine one transmitter over on an analog platform was only providing one TV channel. Now we can be able to get 27. So if we can get a few more frequencies, then we will be able to get so many more that, you know, if you wanted, each one of you could give them to you, but we don't know what you do with it. So this is our digital television terrestrial platform. This is what we expect to do. These are the other platforms we have, the DTH, which is quite common. We have the DVB-H, which is a mobile handheld TV service. I think DMTV is providing that service right now, and I'm sure with the emerging platform we are still going to have quite a number of providers. You might have too many gadgets that you don't know where you will carry some of them from, but I think eventually we will have just a small mini pad that will be a TV, will be a phone, will be everything, so that you don't have to carry so many things. I think in conclusion, I don't want, because there are so many speakers, just want to say that digital migration is there for us to impress, and it is just a technology that has come and it will go. In the next 10 years, we might still have different technologies coming, and you will still have to impress them. But all in all, I want to assure you that even with this platform, you are not going to throw away your TV. Your TV will still remain, and if you want to follow the transformation of the broadcasting services in TV from black and white to colored, now to digital broadcasting, you can see that there is no TV that has been thrown out just simply because it can work. It cannot work. You still have black and white TVs. In fact, our research showed us that we have about 40% of the household with black and white TVs, and they are all going to move to the digital platform. So your TV will not go. The only thing we are struggling with is to get the necessary, available, affordable set-top boxes. We hope our service providers and both KBC and Pan-Afric will be able to answer this question, how far they are struggling to make sure that Kenyans can be able to afford accessing those services that they are providing today. I think with those few remarks, let me give my friends an opportunity to be able to give you a little bit more information. Thank you very much.
I'm the second speaker, and the DG has already talked about all the things I was going to talk about. So a bit of a challenge there. But let me maybe go through the protocols. Mr. Francis Wangusi, the DG of CCK, Mr. Waithaka Wehenya, MD of KBC, Mr. Kiprono Itonyi, Chairman of the Media Owners Association, Mr. Mutua Muthusi, Ms. Rachel Luala, Mr. Mbani, Felix Chengo, Mr. Lee, where's Mr. Kamau, Michael Wu, Mr. Ndwiga, all colleagues, thank you very much for giving this opportunity. Maybe before I go to my presentation, the DG talked about KBC working with Pan-African Network to see how, we can have one device to receive all these things. In my house, I don't know your house, but I have, remember those stereo sets that had an amplifier, cassette deck, CD player, all that. Then you had the first multi-choice decoder, the 3 channels. Then you had the first satellite decoder from MultiChoice. Then you had the second one, the PVR, the DVB-T set-top box, the DVB-T2 free-to-air set-top box, the GoTV set-top box, StarTimes set-top box. How do we... Okay, maybe you don't have as many, but I'm sure you have more than 2 or 3 devices. I have a solution. Broadcasters, when you're getting rid of your old racks, maybe it's a business, you can sell it to us so that we can have in our houses a rack that we can put all these things. The point I'm trying to make is that perhaps we may think about integration. Some areas there's been integration, but others perhaps we need to have integration. Otherwise, we are going to be overwhelmed. Fortunately, the TV is not changing very much. The TV has remained the same. All these things are working around the TV. So, I forgot to mention the DVD player. And there's the Blu-ray disc which is coming. So, that was a comment I wanted to make. Now, I was supposed to talk about the journey, but where we are now, really, the journey is not with those who started it. It's sort of like Dr. Henry Livingstone, is it? No, David Livingstone, when he came from the UK to go and look for the source of the Nile. He was probably with 1 or 2 British people, but actually the journey that went to look for the source of the Nile perhaps had more than 100 people. But because he's the one who wrote the story, we only hear about him. But if one of the Africans had written the story, perhaps they'll be talking about 100 Africans and about 3 British people. So I'm like that person who started exploring, looking for the source of the Nile. But now we have all these portals, Pan-African Network, KBC, CCK, the vendors of set-top boxes, the media. So there isn't really much I can talk about maybe from 2009. Because the journey that we started was when we are planning for digital broadcasting. After that, others have taken up the mantle and they're actually running away with it. So my presentation, is it what? The DG forgot to tell you to switch off your phones or put them on silence. You can, this is not my, I was given this presentation to make, so I have to just go through it the way it was presented. Topics. Why are we here? Why do we have to migrate? The DG has covered some of that. What are the challenges? I think the DG has talked about that. The benefits, we all know about that. What are the requirements? Milestones. No, it's not only one, sorry, that's a spelling mistake. Milestones. The technology, the DG has talked about the technology, I'll talk a little bit about that. The advantages of DVB-T2. The rollout plan. When I'm talking about the rollout plan, maybe take it with a pinch of salt because the people who are actually rolling out are here and they have an opportunity to talk. And then the role of the media. And the last one, I'm just saying that talk to us. When I'm talking about us, it's not me, it is actually the Digital Kenya Secretariat. If there's a clarification, if you are writing an article, please call them and just clarify. They should be able to give you the more up-to-date information so that we impart the correct information to Kenyans. And talking about journeys, I know we faced a lot of hurdles, but I'll just give you an example. The US started thinking about migrating in the early 90s. And they had set a target of 1996 to switch off analog. Eventually, when did they switch off analog? In 2009, in June. And it was only possible because there was a new administration that came in and believed in it and gave the resources. Actually, money, it was about money. And the money was given to the NTIA to give out the coupons so that people could get set-top boxes. So the journey of migration actually has a lot of obstacles. So it's not a unique situation to Kenya. It's not like we don't know what we are doing. I know we've been accused of not knowing what we are doing. It could be true that we don't know what we are doing because also this is new technology, isn't it? So we learn as we go along. I'm saying that in the last few months, we've seen a lot of exciting things happening because of migration. So at least the DG has talked about the opportunities we have to be able to subscribe some channels that otherwise would not have been available or affordable. So one of the reasons why we are here was just to update you as the media on what is going on. Because I think for a long time we're not really, you'd glean information and you'd not know what's happening. So we hope that this session will actually update you, will tell you something you didn't know was going on. And then just help discussions on how we can define our roles, both as a secretariat and as the media. I'm here talking as a member of the Digital Television Committee. not as an advisor of the government on ICT policy. So the DG has talked about why we're migrating. But since we are talking about the journey, actually the journey didn't start in 2006. This journey started in 2002 in Morocco. The Europeans had decided they were going to leave analog because it had so many problems and they were going to go to digital. But because we always do things together, for example, in Europe you have GSM, in Africa we are deploying GSM. The African countries asked the ITU Plenipotentiary Conference, which is the top level body, that they would like to be enjoined with the Europeans in planning for migration. So based on a resolution of the ITU Council in 2002, people started planning. And in the year 2004, we had a one-month conference, which was laying the technical basis. At that conference where we made a decision to go for DVB-T and not the other technologies. And the reason for that is that DVB-T was the most adequate technology because it allowed us to reuse the sites that were there for the analog television. That's why you find that sites that are being deployed are actually sites which were designated for TV in the previous years. What we call the Geneva 89 plan, which was the last analog plan. So on 2004 is when we picked the technology. We identified the sites where the TV was going to be deployed. If you look at the plan, we have specific sites where these stations are going to be deployed. So after we chose the sites and the standard in 2004, a team called the Project Technical Planning Team was formed within the ITU with the representation from 2 people from each region. And they are the ones who kept on. What happened is that, I'll give you an example. I come from a county called Busia. In Kenya now, there are only 47 counties. So I'm sure you know Busia County. We try to put stations in all areas. So we tried to put a station, I think, in Webuye. And the Ugandans wanted to put a station in Tororo. Tororo is just across the border from Kenya. And we found that Tororo was interfering with Webuye. So what we had to do is that we had to either reduce the power at some stations or completely kill the station. So we killed a station in Webuye so that the Ugandans could have theirs in Tororo. But when we went further north, say in Pokot, they killed some stations to allow us also to have some stations. Same thing happened along the border with Tanzania. So during the period of 2004-2006, we're actually planning and playing around, putting in powers, high powers, low powers, until we were able to get an optimal result. So in 2006, what happened is that when we met, we finalized the plan. And therefore, we signed a treaty, and that treaty obliged us to switch off by the year 2015. You'd be interested to know that some countries actually wanted to do the switch over in the year 2050. Others wanted 2032. The Europeans wanted 2012. Some people didn't want to switch off at all. So 2015 was a compromise. In addition, there are some African countries that are actually going to switch off in 2022, the VHF bands. And then we ratified that decision. We came back in June 2006. In April the following year, the ministry put together a task force to work out the strategy. How do we go about migrating? So that task force consisted of people from the National Communications Secretariat, the ministry, the CCK, the Media Owners Association, and some private citizens. And we met from, I was the chairman of that task force. We met from April 2007 up to October. In October, we came out with a report, and the report is available on the CCK website. And the report, among other things, recommended the setting up of a committee that would advise and oversee the implementation of migration. It also called for establishment of signal distribution. Then in 2009, in January, the ministry formed the DTC, again consisting of the ministry, the National Communications Secretariat, the CCK, the Media Owners Association, and some other people. So this is a committee that has been putting together things and has been helping CCK and the Secretariat with implementing the migration. So that's the journey until 2009. Again, these are the countries that signed this treaty in 2006 in red. You realize it's Africa, the Middle East, Europe, the former Soviet Union, And of course, you can see China did not sign the treaty. It's not a member of the treaty. But there's another map which I think I will show you later, which shows the countries that have eventually adopted the same technology. But maybe the challenge is, I live in a place called Langata. In Langata, if I wanted to watch family TV on analog, their transmitter was in Nairobi at NSSF building. So I have to have an aerial pointing towards Tam. There was somebody in Ngong. I have to have an aerial pointing south. Then we have some people in Limuru. So at least minimum 3 aerials. If you live around Lavington, I think you probably need more aerials. So pretty expensive. And then of course the reception is not very good. Ghosting. And then aerials, so many aerials on the roof. Some are on wooden poles, some are on pipes. Some people are using